Hey, Mo, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. How are you doing, Lynn?
I'm doing good.
Excellent. Good to see you in live action. So,
And no like delays and lapses. My gosh.
I know, right? None at all. You must have got rid of that old school internet you had, that Joe Biden stuff. That I'm just kidding. But no, so you're good. And unfortunately, at least for the moment, we're one co-host short.
Mhm.
So, but it is still political pulse, or at least for the moment, LM live. So, just missing the B.
Missing the B. Only LM.
Yeah, so just LM live tonight. Can't make a T-shirt out of that. So, so yeah, so yeah, it's been an interesting week, a couple of weeks in politics, and obviously we've been talking about things leading up to the election, and it's what now 2 weeks away. This election,
Oh, less than two.
less than two. I
Right?
honestly I
We've
lose
got
track
like
of
about
days.
12 days left.
Oh wow, 12 days left. I'll be down this weekend, so I'm definitely gonna try and get my early vote in because my vote counts. I'm gonna make
Oh
sure
yeah.
that this Sunday. So I'll slide into town. I'm gonna drop my kids off at my parents' house and then vote real quick, and then slide back out.
No,
So
so definitely. I think a lot of people might be thinking, oh, you know what? Like the economy's so bad, Republicans are gonna do well. And like right now, I think for example, the House of Representatives in the state house
mhm.
actually about to lose a couple of seats, and we've had the majority all along. And even
Mhm.
with having the majority, we still have a couple of we still have too much regulation going on.
Right.
I mean, DeSantis has provided really good leadership, and I mean, unlike Charlie Crist, when he was governor, the state was bankrupt, right? So,
Yeah. It
so
definitely was.
I mean, like, since we have such a nice, we have a nice surplus, like
Mhm.
we want to keep it that way, and we don't want to spend any more than we really need to. I mean, at least the government, I mean, the state should save that for
Right.
important things
For
like.
rainy days, for hurricaney days.
Right. So for hurricane, not just rainy, right? Not it doesn't
Mhm.
just rain here.
In
So yeah,
Florida, we got too many rainy days, so we don't need to save for that. We need hurricane days. So
yeah, we have hurricane days. So basically, I think a lot of us are complacent if we don't get out and like make sure we vote. I mean, that's
right.
a little dangerous. So definitely, I
Well,
encourage everybody to exercise their right. I mean, like seriously, this is like probably the most valuable thing we have, and we all have one of each.
mhm.
One of it.
No, to follow up with that, and this is why I think it's important. We should not be complacent. Um, we should all get out and vote, whether, regardless of what your politics are. It is a right. It's something that people again have fought for, have come to this country to have the opportunity to do a vote or have a vote or have a say in how your government is ran.
Hmm.
So based on that alone, we shouldn't be complacent. But also because depending on what side of the aisle you are, um, it's no longer just like you can pick out which counties are. You can't just map it out anymore. It's really up in the air. And I've kind of got a sense of that. Again, we're going to discuss the debates tonight. But while I was watching the debates in certain areas where you think or you would normally think are conservative, I'm hearing a lot of cheers and jeers or whatever that are sharing on some some liberal ideas or ideologies, and I'm just like, whoa, what's going on? Like, what part of the state is that? That's not Broward, is that St. Lucie? Like, what is going on?
No, Port St. Lucie out of all places, right? I
I
mean, I
know,
definitely think that it would be conservative. That's
right?
how it notoriously, or I mean, historically has been. And then,
Hmm.
like, I don't know what's going on.
Right.
Like,
So definitely don't be complacent. If you are on any side of the aisle, don't be complacent because again, this is really up in the air. I encourage everyone to go and vote, but definitely Republicans. Do not think you have it in the bag. Do not, by any means necessary, think you've got this by a landslide. Our governor knows that this is not a landslide, and he learned that the last election cycle.
oh yeah,
And it's something he stressed, that his campaign team has stressed, um, is the difference maker between freedom and a lockdown state. So we definitely need to make sure we go out and vote. So and especially now that things are getting really heated. Well, did we want to go into that first, or the canvassing dangers, or just letting people do what they do, just respect voters or respect people as they canvass, or uh, they pass out flyers or support who they support, just like, are we going to go into that initial topic that we discussed?
Yeah, I think we should. I mean, I so I just to keep get everybody on the same page here.
Okay.
There was a canvasser, right? I think his name is I don't think
Mhm.
his name is Christopher Monzon,
Right.
and I mean he's a great kid. He was running for city council in Hialeah before.
Hmm.
And come on, in
Okay.
Hialeah, I mean, I don't even think there's a second party in Hialeah, right? I mean,
Right.
it's like you're either you're more right or less right, and that's about it, right?
Right.
So
Yeah.
you're more Republican or more conservative or less. There's no such thing as like, there's nothing left of that because all the
Right.
Cubans really absolutely do not like communism and don't like socialism. And, I mean, like,
Right. Or anything resembling it.
right, anything resembling it at all. So basically, that's where they're at. And when you see, he was actually canvassing in Hialeah,
Hmm.
right? And that's when he got.
Really.
So they got like
Really.
4 or 5. I'm not clear on that, but I think the police already caught one
Really.
from.
Wow.
Well,
Wow.
yeah, and I don't even know if that's the right person. I don't know if Chris had identified them or if he
Hmm.
remembers them. You know what I mean? It is a pretty. I don't know what's right now. I haven't heard any news about what's going on today,
Hmm.
but it was on Jesse Waters. He mentioned it, and I think there was another news outlet that was mentioning this as well.
Hmm.
But you see it all over the internet. It's actually kind of still hush hush though. I mean, like,
Well, I was gonna watch it just now on channel because I have apps up here so I can get tuned into down south stuff.
mhm,
So I watch Channel 10 News quite often. Probably shouldn't, but
mhm.
I do anyway. And they were just about to
Oh,
bring it
nice.
up. So
Yeah.
I found out about this through the internet, through people, I guess, friends that knew him or were somewhat connected to him.
Hmm.
So this was going to be the first news reporting that I was going to see on it, besides
Um,
the social media photos, which were pretty disturbing. So
right.
yeah.
So apparently, like they broke his jaw and they broke his
Mhm.
nose. I
Wow.
heard that there was going to be like some facial reconstruction surgery or something like that. It was pretty severe, right?
Hmm.
At the same time, like I don't know what happened. He was at Kendall Memorial,
Hmm.
and then now he's out.
Okay,
So
well, good for
I don't
him
know
that
if he's
he's.
out just because he doesn't want to be disturbed or doesn't want anybody to, I mean, to bother him, or I don't
Mhm.
know. I know a lot of reporters have been trying to get to him, and you know what I mean. When you're in
Yeah,
the suffering stage, like you don't really want to answer any questions, or
I
when
don't
you're
think he could. If I mean, he sounds like his injuries, he can't answer any questions, like quite
mm,
literally. Like,
yeah.
got to rest his mouth or his jaw. You
Well, I mean, just
know what?
moving your face and moving yourself is a little is tough
Yeah,
already, right?
and yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I mean, unless you're willing to take a written statement, like leave me alone. So
No, and written, like, how is he gonna write? I don't even know. I don't know what he's like. I texted the guy.
unless they're willing to take smoke signals or something, I don't know.
Yeah, I text somebody and I asked some people who were going to go visit him, and then they
Hmm.
wanted to go visit him, but he was already gone. So I don't
Okay.
know. Like I said, I don't know if he's gone, like really gone, or if he's just not like taking any visitors, right?
Right.
So I mean, most likely I would not take visitors. I had a concussion once, and
Hmm.
like seriously, people knocking on doors like bothers me. Like I told him like do not close the door, right? People want to
Right.
come in, they can come in, look at me. If I'm sleeping, please don't wake me up. Like I can't.
Right.
No,
Right.
I can't deal with it. I just have this massive pounding headache, right? When you get a concussion. I don't know if have you ever had one? It's
No, not to my knowledge. I mean,
it's definitely not fun, right? I was mugged. So I got hit by a baseball
mm,
bat in the back of my head.
oh wow,
And then I fell flat on my face and had a
wow.
concussion in the front. So anyway, the point is that like I mean, I don't know what stage he's in and I don't know how he's doing.
Hmm.
The thing is like it's just too quiet, right? And what we're hearing is we're hearing that he's pulling a Jesse Smollett thing. So
They
here's
would
the
try and
funny part, right? Here's the funny
yeah,
part. When people are telling you, like, or when the news comes out, or when they're ruling it as Jesse Smollett is like faking the or staging this whole thing,
right,
um, the left go crazy. They're like, "Oh, he's not staging it. It's like really racist, whatever," right? And
right.
then when something happens to someone like someone on the conservative side,
Hmm.
like all of a sudden it's he's faking it.
He's got to be faking it.
And so
I
I'm
mean,
thinking, like, so you do admit that he's faking that Jesse Smollett was a whole fake, you know?
or yeah, because otherwise, but I mean, this guy's got like some real serious injuries, and this, sorry,
Mm.
it's not like he's didn't go and seek medical treatment. It's like, okay, Jussie Smollett had like abrasions and bruises and stuff. This guy's got a broken jaw. I don't think no one's gonna. If
Like,
I'm
how did
gonna
you
fake
really do that?
something, please don't break my jaw to prove how serious I want the or look. Like, I don't think someone would fake that. If it okay, to give them a little bit of wiggle room here, maybe if his injuries were like, but this guy's got a broken jaw. Come on, give me a break. That's at that point in time, you got to give him some credibility. Um, but, but to say is, it's that's just to escape away from the real serious issue here of like, okay, why did you attack this man? Like, why? Like you brought up earlier, Hialeah, you're either right or further right. This is a community where it shouldn't be as dangerous. You're probably supposed to be getting supporters as you canvass. Like, high five, you're canvassing for Marco Rubio or something, not getting beat up.
No, we're not in a primary, right? So it's not like
Right,
right against right, basically, you know what I'm saying? So it's
right.
really weird. Now the thing is though, I think what one thing that could be possible is like, we don't know if these two they had issues before. So this is up to investigation. I think like
Mhm,
the police really have to dig into this, and if it's a hate
mhm.
crime, you got to call it as a hate crime.
Right.
I mean, what they were saying was the guy, I mean, the people who beat him up said that, well, supposedly, right? We don't know if they really
Mhm.
said that, but said that you don't belong in this neighborhood. And I'm thinking, like, okay, where do they go? Like if a
Yeah.
Republican can't be in Hialeah, I don't know where they can go. Like, geez. But my point is like I think they still need to look into what caused those guys to, was there a fight? You know
Right.
what I mean? Like it could be something that was enticed from from Chris's side. I don't know, right? Like nobody
Right.
knows. Like only
Like, is it a
he
personal thing?
and the
Right.
rest of the guys know. And the police really should get to the bottom of this and
Hmm.
find out if this is true because this is not acceptable. Like I think that if there's a difference in ideology and we're beating each other up because of it,
Big
now that
issue.
really is a hate crime, right? I mean,
Yeah.
yeah.
That's a big issue. I mean, again, it's one of those things where now we're stepping into like third world country territory with our politics.
That's
Um,
what communism does to a country.
agreed. 'Cause, I mean, I come from a country where if you don't tell people who you're voting for or what party you're with in that country for your safety. And I know there's the same
Whoa.
thing in other countries. I've heard similar things, so I can understand other countries' experiences. But in America, where we have this process where it's supposed to be just and fair, and everyone has an opportunity to canvass. You have a right to believe what you believe, and you have a right to believe what you believe, and we'll just hash down on election day. To
Mhm.
now taking a step further to enact violence to somebody who's just doing what their American right allows them to do. I can go out and canvass and campaign and knock doors and hang flyers and put signs in my yard to support the person I think you should vote for, or that I would vote for, and I'm going out and supporting them by hopefully garnering your support for them.
Right.
To now beat the man up to the point where he's got a broken jaw and having to need facial reconstructive surgery. It's like, do I tell my kids in the future, like, hey, let's all go out as a family and support our like I was watching some political stuff today with my son and my newborn, and he was so intense as he was watching. He's like, I'm like, this is what we should do more often. Like instead of having these little toys and like ABC Mouse or whatever it is, Mickey Mouse Club, let him watch politics early. Let him kind of like soak it all in. But I also don't want him to grow up and then having to be concerned of getting beat up because he supports a certain candidate or whatever. Is this the world we're going into? So speaking of which, I kind of hear him in the background crying. So I hope my daughter's doing her
Where's
baby.
your wife today?
She's working late tonight.
Okay.
She's working late. Yeah. Alternating Wednesday, she does that. She it's tough to balance out a schedule. We try to make it so that way we have weekends off so we can give time to the kids. So like this weekend we're going to SeaWorld and we're going we're doing a lot of driving this weekend. We spend time with all the kids and make sure so she puts in certain hours to make sure she's able to have those days off. So yeah.
That's cool.
Oh yeah. Yeah, we're a fun family. We do fun family stuff. We're very active. We got like all the park passes and stuff like that. So
oh, okay.
we take full advantage, man.
Seriously, I mean, as Florida residents, of course, right?
Oh yeah. SeaWorld don't get old ever. Like these kids love it every time. It's like, hey, SeaWorld again. For me, it's like SeaWorld again. But
I know a friend of mine. He has a daughter, and like they have like Legoland.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, every single ticket. And it's funny. I always lived in the state with like all the theme parks. So I lived in California before, and now I'm in Florida. So it's like theme parks galore. Yeah, always a theme park nearby. But they're fun. They're fun.
Oh yeah, no, they don't get old. And for me, I mean, I like the what's it called, the roller coaster. So as long as I can get ahead of the line quick enough, I don't lose interest. So the kids never again.
You have to buy the express pass.
Sometimes you have to, and sometimes you don't. You just gotta hopefully map it out.
Go on the right day.
Yeah, like this weekend we probably won't have to because it's getting colder and stuff like that. So less traffic around this time of the year. So summertime, yeah, early January, April.
Oh, I can't stand going to theme parks in the summer. Anyway, we have digressed like way out where we're supposed to be.
Political Pulse live at SeaWorld.
Yeah, so I mean, like that's I think that should come out real soon because I mean I don't know what they're gonna wait for, but from any side, right? I mean, like I think Mayor Bovo is already on top of it. I mean, we should find out what the source of this is, and if it was done because of political affiliation and difference in ideology. Like if that's the case, then I think the state attorney steps in and like let's do it. Let's make this a hate crime. But of course, the administration is. I mean, Joe Biden had said it himself, right, when he was talking about the right are extremists and they shouldn't, like, they have no place here. Yeah, I mean, like there's you get, remember when there was like when the COVID virus came out and then like people asked Trump and Trump called it the China virus. You know what I mean? Like that. And
I still thought that was a cooler name.
And people like freaked out because, especially Asian people saying that, because then they feared for their lives and then people started hating Asians because of that. You know what I mean? All that. And I totally get it, right? I got that like what he said was a little inappropriate, although it was actually really factual. If you ask some Chinese people, they're like, well, it's from China. But but for people who misinterpret that, they can actually turn that into a whole thing against Asian people.
Well, and with the wrong mindset,
and most people can't distinguish. The problem is most people can't distinguish Asian Americans and like the Chinese Communist Party, right? Like these are two different things, and on the surface, it looks quite the same, right?
The same, yeah. But if you're small-minded on any level, that's just that's what you're gonna do. And I mean, it's as we segue shortly into the debates, that's what happens. You hear these small-minded things, and you hear the cheers and jeers, and you're like, that doesn't, hey, look, you're getting a shout out, Lynn.
Yay! Thanks, Don. Don actually does a documentary. It's called How to Cook a Frog. I was interviewed. It was about communism and like how we are subversed into it like slowly,
Hmm.
and what are the symptoms of communism. It's a fantastic documentary, and I was interviewed in it.
I
So
would love to watch it. I would definitely love to
search
watch
for
it
how
'cause,
to cook
I
a
mean,
frog. Don, if you can leave a
love the
link.
title.
Yeah, if you can leave a link, like put it all in. Okay, he did. There you
How to
go.
cook a frog.
There
I
you
probably
go.
could have Googled
Yeah.
that.
It's pretty awesome. Yeah, so you can click on that website to go check out this movie. It's a documentary. So he
Hmm.
interviewed a lot of different people who came from different communist countries,
And kind
right?
of
So
showed you how we're doing exactly what happened.
yeah, we're frogs right now. They don't put us in hot water; they just slowly turn the heat up.
Yep.
So yeah, so Don was he's the producer and the director and everything. He's great.
Yeah,
Yeah,
we should have him on the show one of these days.
hmm. Oh, thank you, Don. Yeah. So basically that's, I mean, that's what he does. And
Hmm.
oh, I'm just gonna share with everybody, like on 13th and Ocean Drive, November 6th, which is Sunday, we are having a walk for victims of communism to recognize or to acknowledge, to honor all of our friends and family and people who were victims of communism. So we will have some awesome speakers there that day. I have a guy who was rescued from um, Nicaragua,
Hmm.
from the prisons. He was
Interesting.
tortured. He was a political prisoner basically. He was
Hmm.
yeah. And I don't mean to promote my event today, but I mean, since we're always talking about communism, I just wanted to invite everybody. And yeah, register on Eventbrite. Look for Federated Republican Women of Miami Beach,
Hmm.
and our event starts at 3. We have people who are like always on the ground and always in the here listening of for anything that has to do with Nicaragua, Venezuela. Oh, I also have another political prisoner from Venezuela. I believe like her family was
Hmm.
imprisoned and tortured, and and she escaped and she got here, I think 2017 or something like that.
Hmm.
But
Okay.
she has now like started a nonprofit that fights for human rights, because in communist countries there are no human rights. But I have a surprise question. I hope Bill comes on because I really want him to answer this. But anyway, let's get back to. I want to go
No,
back
but
on track to
yeah,
where we were before.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
So,
no, go
mhm.
ahead. What are you saying?
No, I was going to say that that it's they really should get to the bottom of this and find out, because like if they don't um, prosecute whatever they don't find out the truth of what happened, right?
Right.
Was it provoked or was it not provoked? Right? Was it just him canvassing, knocking on doors, and then like he just some people just didn't like his Marco Rubio shirt and his DeSantis hat, so they decided to beat him
Yeah.
up. You know what I mean? Like, was there any self defense element in there? Was
And
there
I mean,
like
as much as we hate to even go down that road, I mean, it's where we are. In terms of, and I mean, I've seen it because I've been around before. Because again, I'm nonpartisan, but obviously now from doing the show and campaigning and my own campaign, people know that I, lean conservatively. So I was privy to a lot of information just because I was around people and they're just assuming that I'm a liberal and they're like, yeah, well, screw those guys, and they'd refer to like Republicans as those R's. And I'm like, that just sounds horrible. Like those R's, like what are you implying here? So, I mean, as much as we really want to say, okay, hopefully he just owed somebody some money and they caught him outside or whatever, the reality for this, he was wearing Marco Rubio gear. He was out there canvassing. He's handing out flyers, knocking on doors. And that's the moment they chose to strike. They didn't strike at any other time. I'm pretty sure this guy goes outside in other moments wearing other outfits and clothes. Um, but in that moment, he just happened to be doing something supportive of a political candidate, and he, unfortunately, may have gotten beaten up because of it. So
yeah.
it's
Well, I mean,
concern.
I know the kid. I couldn't imagine him getting into a fight with anybody, or provoking a fight with anybody, right?
So that's
But
even
like,
further.
but
Yeah,
the thing is, like, we don't know, and I don't want. I
right.
hate to make assumptions and hate to assume that like he was completely innocent on this and there was
Hmm.
absolutely a hate crime, but I am assuming. Like I'm leaning in that direction, right? In what I'm in my
I
logic,
think most of us
like
are.
kind of like what you thought.
The
Yeah.
evidence, I mean, well, not the evidence is there, but signs it would indicate if I was a betting man,
Hmm.
which I'm not. So, but if I was, I'm putting a lot of money saying that this was definitely a targeted attack based on him being a Republican. So,
Yeah.
I mean, I know I've never really had that issue being a
Hmm.
conservative or anyone ever targeted me, but I know once people started finding out, my Facebook number started thinning out. Uh, so I mean, I was like, wait a minute,
This,
what am I?
so this is actually like a thing, you know? It's
Yeah, it's a
like
thing.
what? Why is it that okay? So, like, why am I not allowed to not like you? Well, actually, I think for conservatives, we give people that freedom to believe in whatever they want to believe, right?
Right,
I don't know. I think it's like you do you. I don't. We don't. We don't mind. So unless you want to turn our entire country into communism, then dictate what I do with my money and my property and my rights, then as long as you're not touching those, like go ahead and do whatever you want, right? I mean, that's usually the general consensus among conservatives.
right.
And but when they know that you believe in something different,
Hmm.
it's like not okay.
Right.
Like why? Like you can think whatever you want. I let you do it.
Mhm.
And they take that as if what they're thinking is right. And that's why we
Yep.
do not disagree with them.
Yeah, it's just
Or we
weird.
don't stop talking to them. Or we don't, unfriend them on Facebook.
It's the
That's
most
not it.
confusing
Like,
thing to
wait,
people.
that's not
Yeah,
it. You know what I mean? Like, they
yeah,
have to get it's not it. It's because I give you the freedom to do what you want, not because, like, you're right and I have to kowtow to that. No, it's like I let you do what you want because that's within your right.
right. Yeah, no, it's again, it's just I've been privy to it because again, being a black conservative, that was never really vocal up
You're
until
a
recently.
supremacist.
Yeah, no, when I hear that, I'm just like, okay. I sit silently first. I don't say anything. I'm just like those white supremacists. I'm like, yeah. Go on, continue. Like let's get like continue. Just sit there and just like let's soak it all in. And then depending on where depending on how it goes, I just drop the bombshell on them. Like, so I vote Republican, right? They're like, what? Silence. There's a lot of confusion. Um, again, it's just very interesting. So I've heard a lot of, and again, it's on both sides because again, being a conservative, you're around other conservatives, you hear them speak, and again, it goes both ways, and it's really something that it's incumbent upon all of us as human beings to just stop being judgmental or mean or set the example that you tell your kids like, hey, listen, don't bully people, but then you go and bully people. It's like it's like just be an example. So don't be hypocritical, especially if you're conservative, because the whole basis of us as conservative is to not be hypocritical. So to not be those types of people, to not stoop down to like that lower level. So let's not do it on a grander scale. So
Hmm.
so yeah, let's
Okay.
go. Let's move on because we wish.
Well,
What's
I
his
want
name?
to talk about let's start talking about the Florida senatorial debate, right?
Okay.
So, between Marco Rubio and Val Demings. Well, anyway, wait, before we go on, I just want to wish Chris Monzon like
Yes.
a speedy recovery,
Absolutely.
and we hope that the perpetrators are brought to justice, and he gets justice is served for him as well, right? For Chris as well.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So that's from us, and now we're gonna move on to Marco Rubio and Val Demings.
Yeah. So that was an interesting debate. So now you watched it first, because again, I saw it today. I just be all right. I'm a full time dad. That's what I do. So like, I gotta like watch things on like replay or repeat or whatever. So I finally got a chance to watch it. My son loved it, by the way, because again, he's like propped
He's
up and
two
he's like
months old.
2 months old, but he was like really into this thing. I got a video of it. I will post this on Facebook later on. But he was like really into it. Like the moderators asking questions, and he's just like Well, he's
That's
reclined. He was in his little
cool.
baby
Well, I
bouncer.
mean, the action because like it's like short spurts, and like kids
Yeah.
have short attention spans. So when
Mhm.
there's switch speakers, I think
Mhm.
it kind of helps. You know what I mean? Like
Oh yeah,
maybe
no, it was great. He had a great. I
could be
mean,
a
he
good.
was
It could
focused.
be a good child distractor.
He was watching it for like a solid 10 minutes. Like, yo, this is interesting. So even he knows how important politics is at this stage.
Oh,
And I mean, he could barely, do other things for long periods of time, but for this, he was into it.
wow.
So anyway,
Okay.
so this was interesting for many reasons because
So
this
let
was
me ask you, what did you think of? Okay, before you went you saw the debate.
mhm.
What did you think of Marco Rubio?
Well, Marco Rubio is Marco Rubio. He's been in politics for 20 some odd years, what, 24 years?
22, yeah,
And as far as public service,
time.
he's always done a very good job, speaking to the public. I think he's done a good job as the senator. I don't know too much about him when he was in, his earlier years in politics in Florida House or whatever.
Mhm.
But I think he's done a good job. He, may have had a premature run at the White House, but overall, I think he does a good job. He does like any other what you want your politician to do. I think he's a perfect example of what you want your politician to do. Kind of just like go out there, canvas, win an election, go to the Senate, do some stuff there, pass some laws, be visible, make us proud, come back, rinse, wash, repeat. That kind of thing. So I didn't see anything different than what I expect from Marco Rubio. I didn't pay any attention to Val Demings before this election cycle started. And it really started off because her campaign ads came in early and aggressive. And I was like, wow, this lady's like the election's next year. What's she doing? Like she's just like Marco Rubio, I'm taking you down. I'm like, oh, shots fired. Like this lady is like very and she's intense. So I'm like, going into this, I was like, okay, how's he gonna handle this lady? Because again, I had no real knowledge or anything about Val Demings up until this election cycle started.
Mm.
So yeah, so I was already like looking forward to this debate, and it did not disappoint. It did not. It was like watching a Tyson fight, but fight's not like one of those new ones now where he like fakes it and then just splits the prize money. This one was like was a slugfest. She was she was just as aggressive in person as she was in her
In her ads.
in her campaign ads.
Mm.
And it shows. And honestly, I don't want somebody like that representing me in the Senate. To be quite honest with you, she's just like a pit bull off a leash. It's not safe. I don't want to let her go. Hey, look, another Facebook use. Facebook
Oh my
user.
gosh. Well,
Facebook
thank
user.
you.
You need a name.
There's a user. I don't know who it is.
Maybe it's all the Facebook users. They're like,
Ooh, okay, that would be a lot of compliments. Thank you so much.
like, could be one of the state
Yeah, I mean, feel
accounts.
free to comment whatever you want or ask any questions you like. We're here, and yeah, we're just here to offer like
If you had to have
alternative.
a name in order to make a comment. Imagine if that person actually put their name as Facebook user. But anyway,
First name Facebook, last name user.
right? No, but no. So no,
No,
she
so
did not disappoint.
what I
Yeah.
think about what I thought about Marco Rubio before was a lot less than whatever I think of now. So, I mean, I felt like there was a lot of, I mean, remember when like maybe a year and a half ago or so, when the Cubans changed their leader, like the regime change,
Yes.
and then like there was a whole bunch of things going down, and then like there was protesting. I was there on
Mhm.
the road, on the streets, and at La Carreta, Versailles, everywhere. Like I was just protesting with them. Like, yeah, heck, get rid of communism, right?
Right.
So I was totally into it with them. And I felt like there wasn't much going on. Like I thought he was supposed to do something. This is his community, like
Mhm.
Cuban, he's Cuban, whatever, right? And I always kind of like didn't, and especially like, I have a thing about career politicians.
Mhm.
You know what I mean?
We
Like
all do.
where I mean, he's been in office since I can remember. I don't even know if he ever had a job. And, I just felt like
Right.
he was the Speaker of the House, then he was a Senate, and then he went into whatever, right? He just kept going, 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 going for
Right.
like 20 some years. But like, I think last night, I mean, the night that he had the debate with Val Demings, I think it was proof that like this guy really does know what's going on.
Right.
You know what I mean? I mean, like I said, I didn't like him before, and I like him a little bit more now.
Right.
I had a lot of admiration for Val Demings going in, thinking
Right.
like, wow, this woman, right? She was a chief police. She's da 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 da. But then when you hear her talk, there's like so much victimization in her speaking.
Yep.
My dad was a janitor, my mom was a
Mom was
whatever,
a,
right? Like, I mean,
yeah.
like she kept saying that over and over. It's like, come on, right? Like, look, I'm proud of where my parents were bartenders. My dad was a bartender. My mom was a waitress. You know
Hmm.
what I mean? Like, yeah, it's that's what they did. What they had to do to
Right.
survive, right? And
And-
we and we admire them for that. Their
right.
sacrifice. Like my mom worked 2, 3 jobs. Some days 3 jobs, most days 2 jobs, right?
Hmm.
My dad also the same thing. So I mean, they did what they had to do to survive. And that's something that we know that is the most amazing thing about this country. You go to India and you want to get a job, you're not going to get a job.
Right. Right.
You know what I mean? Here, you can get more than one job.
Correct.
And you know that there's
You
a
work
new
your
thing,
way up.
right?
Yeah.
These people who are working from home, they're actually taking on 2 full-time jobs,
Hmm.
getting 2 paychecks, and
Yeah.
the other company doesn't know about it. But I mean, like that's the thing. That's the beauty of it. Like I remember when I went to India and I wanted to open a corporate company, like a corporate account for
Hmm.
my company. Good Lord, like there was like 8 people there. One person does one job, which is staple the papers together. He gets to work for like 2 hours, then they change shifts so everybody can get paid.
Wow. Wow.
How I don't know what it's like today, but I was there. This was New Delhi. You know what I mean? Like
Mhm.
that's where I went to go open my account. And you can see people just like, they're jobless on the streets. I mean,
Right.
they have 1.6 billion people in the country, but I
Hmm.
mean, or less. A little less. But
Someplace around there.
it's a huge amount. And the fact that like, my parents can come here and, make a life for themselves. So my point is like when Val Demings was mentioning that, I
Hmm.
felt like she felt like it was some massive deal about,
Yep.
like something.
I
And
agree.
and she's, her parents are not the only ones who had to work jobs like that
Not at
for
all. I think.
for
Listen.
their next generation to have a
Mhm.
better life, right? But the point is that she missed is like you can do that here in this country, and you
Mhm.
can't do that anywhere else. Not always, anyway,
Yep.
right? hmm So,
I mean,
so that was the victimization in her speaking that I thought was a little like it sounded almost petty.
yeah. No. I mean, and that's because the reason they say it because of what you just said. It's like anybody can do that here in this country. And not only can anyone do it, many people have done that in this country where
hmm
either they have had to work 2 or 3 jobs. I've had to work 2 to 3 jobs while going to school. Mind you, I still didn't. I'm not doing what it is I went to school for. So it's like, why did I do all that? But anyway, my parents, when they first came to this country, my mom had to start from, she left her job that was, something she worked hard to get to in Jamaica to start at the bottom as a housekeeper
hmm
and childcare, take care of her, whatever. You had to, those, she was a maid, basically, a maid.
Right.
And I don't know what you call people that take care of children, parents normally, but nowadays, but the child care, people, especially
Childcare.
they have a
Childcare.
title now.
What
Back
do
then
they
they didn't
call
have a title. It was just like while you cleaning my house, watch the kids. My dad, he came to the country. He was, he worked as a car detailer at Bayview Cadillac. Um,
Right.
and they took turns. One went to school while the other one worked, and then once they got a higher paying job, the other one went to work while the other one went to school. And my mom became a nurse and an RN, and now they're both, doing good. Great
Right.
story. But everyone in America has that story, or not. Let me
Yeah.
not say everyone. Many people in America have that
No,
story.
and instead of celebrating that, it looks like, she was like kind of putting herself down for it. I mean, that's the
Right.
vibe that I got from her, right?
Right.
And and the other thing was like, when she was talking about abortion and all that, and I think Rubio really did really well against Demings in this debate.
Oh, he
That's
did
my
phenomenal.
take on it, right? I think like he knew
He
his
did
stuff.
phenomenal. He
He
won that thing.
nailed her on certain things,
Yeah.
and she keeps doing that fake Hillary smile. You know how Hillary would when she debated Trump
Yeah.
back in 2015, 16, whatever, in 2016, and she was just I mean, like he was throwing the fucking kitchen sink. Oop. I'm sorry, throwing the kitchen sink.
Our
Sorry,
ratings just
throwing
went up
four-letter
again.
words. I just
Um. Oh, and now she froze. Oh, the FCC's got us. The FCC has got us. Lynn got frozen. Apparently, may have done something on YouTube or something. All right, so we're gonna hang tight and see how long it takes Lynn to get back on live because we are still live. Um, but to her point, let me at least follow up with what she was saying about Val Demings in this debate. And her and I can discuss it when she gets back on. But Val Demings, first of all, she said something about a Hillary smile. It looked conniving or evil, even like she just wanted to stare into Marco Rubio's soul, and it was kind of um, terrifying to be quite honest with you. But this lady just looked like she was out to get Marco Rubio, and I am very proud of not only him but his campaign team and all the people around him who prepared him so well to take on the onslaught of attacks that she wanted to bring against Marco Rubio. He did a phenomenal job of just answering all the questions, rebutting all her questions or her comments. Like Lynn was saying, she kept on bringing up this discussion and making herself seem like a victim. The entirety of it, and it was really hard for me to stomach that. So to watch Rubio really do a good job um, of debating and being so well prepared to answer the questions and rebut her questions and comments was awesome. Was awesome because again, this woman was out for blood, and it was clear she's aggressive. She was just like words. I'm trying to find the words to describe it right now. I was very disappointed in her presentation. I knew that it was going to be a good debate, but I don't think she prepared for it. She just prepared to attack Marco Rubio. Let's see if I can help Lynn get back on. Co-host list. I got no Bill. I got no Lynn. I got no Bill. I got no Lynn. Let's see here. Oh, there she is. Let's see how we get you all back. Okay, Lynn is back. Awesome. Glad you're able to join us again, Lynn. Just like
Sorry about that. I read my laptop battery died. I'm sorry.
BLM Live. Got so much adventure.
I know. It's either like internet connection or battery or whatever.
Phone dying or
But
my son crying in the background, so I gotta carry him into the shots. We have a
no,
fourth co-host.
I thought that because I said a bad word that
Yeah,
like,
me too. I was like, man, the FCC's got us.
I was like, damn, they're real time.
Like YouTube, man, give us a second.
I know, right?
Like it
Anyway,
was an accident.
yeah. So so the point was I was gonna say was that I think there was a lot of like the way she was speaking was a little victimizing herself, and then Like she didn't occur as powerful as I thought she would be. Because I said like I had her like here and Marco
Mhm.
Rubio like here, you know what I mean? But
Yep.
after the debate, after seeing that, and like especially with like the fact that she doesn't have any policies that she wants to talk about, and all the things that she had voted with Nancy Pelosi, she kept saying, "Oh, Senator Rubio, that's a lie." But like, what is the
It's
truth?
true, but it's the truth.
I know. So what is the truth? You know, she didn't refute and came back and said like these are the actual facts, but she's just saying that you could tell people are lying. You can say people are lying all day, and then you can call
Mhm.
them a racist. It doesn't
That's
make it
pretty
them.
much all she was doing. She was
You
like,
know?
just because you
Yeah.
don't agree with people that don't look like you, I'm like, but he's Spanish.
I know, but he's Cuban. Like,
He's
hello.
he's Spanish. He's Cuban. Like he understands.
He's supposed to be brown.
He's too light to be brown. Apparently,
Right.
he's been bleaching. He's not one of those Cubans. He's one of those other Cubans. He's like the in Hialeah. He's the other Cuban, not that Cuban.
No, but I mean Cubans go from anywhere that are like you to all the way to like
I'm
blonde and
part,
blue eyes, right?
I'm part Cuban, and I stemming with the darker skin toned Cubans. So I mean, it's
And I wish I could say I'm Cuban too, but
no, my grandmother was Cuban. My great grandmother was Cuban, but and then migrated to Jamaica. Anyway, it's just again for her to go and attack. It's she did not prepare for a Marco Rubio debate. She prepared to attack Marco Rubio's character. And he did a phenomenal job. His
yeah,
team, and I was saying this while you were gone. I was mentioning, I'm like, listen, to piggyback off what she was saying. Um, you mentioned a smile that she had that was like Hillary Clinton esque. I didn't really see it. I thought this woman was out for blood the entire time. She was so aggressive. She was so angry. She was so
yeah. No,
like
she does the
hurt or
same
something.
tactic that Joe Biden does whenever he's arguing.
But they all do.
Like, hey Jack, like I'll take you in the back of the gym.
No, they all listen. They all do it. It's like it's how they rile up their base nowadays. They got to get them. First of all, they lie to them and say these people hate you, they're racist or whatever, and then they get aggressive and hope that you're getting aggressive in front of your TV too. Like, and then you don't pay attention to those things. So we're talking about this now as it relates to the senatorial
Debate. Yeah.
debate. But we're going to use this, not right now, but we're going to segue this into also the gubernatorial debate because it was the same tactic being deployed in that debate as well.
Yeah.
So it's the same tactic in the presidential debates. It's the same tactic in their campaign strategies. It's what they do. They identify with something that you can identify with and that you can be a victim with them on. Like, yeah, our parents were poor.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I have a black friend. So
it's like woo.
It's like I have a black family. Like, what do you want a cookie? Like, I woke up this morning, black. Like every day, black. Like, what are you trying to say here? What are you trying to do? Like, what
I gotta
connection
carry
are you
like
trying to
little
make?
star stickers, like for elementary school kids.
Yeah,
All right, I'm gonna give you a star.
and that's what they do to people, and people have not caught on yet. They have not caught on yet, and it's unbelievable. And then while they do this little smoke and mirrors magic trick that gets you all like ooh shiny object, then they slide in this legislation that completely ruins your life. It's like
spend.
higher taxes, yeah, higher taxes.
Spend.
We'll get rid of this student loan debt and hit you with some taxes. Like,
yeah. I mean, they're not even subtle about it, right? It's like,
no.
you should kind of like usually space it out a little bit.
Like, no. You know what's interesting? You're right. She's not. Here's the thing. So Val Deming said one thing that I could like. You know what? She had a backbone on that. She was very clear on where she stood on this thing. Marco Rubio was trying to get her to say something that she did say. He was like, what ban do you support on abortion? It was like, when do you support abortion? 4 weeks, 2 weeks, 5 weeks? She was very clear when she said all the way up to the baby being born. She's like, it's like, if that baby doesn't come out, you can kill it. I was like, wow. That's ultimately what she was saying.
Yep.
Bottom line, she like, I don't care
Yep.
how it happened, who got it in, and like up until the time, unless it pops out, you can kill it.
No,
So
honestly, I think that that in itself is super extreme, right? I mean, I don't know about
absolutely.
you, but like for me, it's like I think when they, first I thought, okay, heartbeat is good. And then I
Hmm.
realized like heartbeat's like 5 to 6 weeks, right?
Right.
And I'm thinking like, yeah, I know, some people might not be regular in their menstruation and, they might miss it. I mean, that's possible. So, okay, maybe a little longer, but like personally for me, like, of course, I don't agree with any of that, right? But I
Right.
know that like there are certain things that are exceptions. And
Right.
which like this is the exact same thing that hit on that. So what I would entice our listeners or people who stumble on this video to really contemplate is I know you want to stand for women's choices, right? Me too, right? But
Right.
we did have a choice already. It's
Hmm.
something that people don't realize, right? We had a choice before we were going to have sexual intercourse,
Hmm.
right? We had a choice to take birth control pills or not.
Hmm.
We had a choice to use contraception. We had a
100%.
choice to do a lot of things,
Hmm.
and we had a choice at like to monitor ourselves
Well,
at,
but see,
during the whole time that you are active. You can
right.
take several pregnancy tests. It's not a rule that you can only take it one time.
Right, and that's on both sides, men and women.
And
You
that
have
is,
choices
yeah,
in what you
and
do.
this is the choices that
And
you have.
those are the right. Those are the choices.
And the
Once you have
choice
made that
really
choice,
ultimate sorry, just one last sentence. Like the
mhm,
choice really ultimately is personal responsibility. Like
correct.
be responsible for your actions and that's it. We're not teaching people to be responsible if we're allowing them to abort a child.
Hmm.
And I'm saying a child because it's like right about to come out. Like a child can actually survive outside the womb after, like what, 7 months?
Yep. That's why most, anything realistically like 5 months because you have premature babies that come up, anywhere
Right.
5 months
And
in the
they,
incubator and stuff
stay
like
in
that.
incubators and
Hmm.
whatnot.
So
So
I mean, throughout my pregnancy, this last one, I'm
your
hearing.
pregnancy.
Well, no, when you're married and it's your child and
I
it's
know.
one of
I'm
those things.
just
Yeah,
teasing
so
you.
it was
You're a
mine too.
man that could get pregnant.
That's a whole nother show. And we should
No,
do
we
it.
have
To
to
be honest with
rebuttal
you,
that
but
how ridiculous that is, right? Yeah. But anyway.
we're gonna have to do that show, which they brought up in the debates too. But I mean, you know, I heard the heartbeat. The heartbeat was the first that got me. Once I heard the heartbeat, I was like, he's in there, yay! And then you start to hit, you see him moving in there and kicking and all these things, and those things, not only for me but for my wife, she loved every minute of it. This is why she likes, getting pregnant because it's like it's something where you know that you're bonding with the baby like 24/7. And she loves that experience. So to
Yeah.
say that there's no life at that point in time is to undermine every single mother and child that goes through that experience or what that experience is like. And you're denying somebody that very, very, very awesome experience. And
Mm.
also the man. One of the things, and this is, I'm going to address this and then we can move off real quick. Even though they say it's women's right to choose, but it's like they completely cut the man out of like the whole child birthing, raising process. It's like the other day I was at Publix with my wife, and they were like, "Oh, how's the baby? And how's mom?" And I'm sitting there like, I'm doing good too. Like, anybody gonna check in on me? Like,
Looking for some attention, Mo.
well, no, because it's one of those things. Like from the hospital and everywhere else, it's like they don't care. Like they in the hospital, I don't know people that have this experience. I don't know how they feel about it. But for me, it was very concerning. They only put mom's last name on there. So my wife is hyphen, right? So they put XU, which is my wife's maiden last name.
Right. Holy
Um,
cow. I think she's related to me.
she might be. You know how you Asians are. But anyway,
We're all from the same village.
I'm leaving this alone. This is gonna get me in trouble not only on
No,
the
dude,
show
but
but
the
also
truth
on
is we're
marriage.
all from one village in Africa.
Well, yeah. So yeah, one way or the other, we're all related. Circle of life. But anyway, uh, so they put that last name. I'm like, no, his last name is Hilton. They're like, oh no, well we put the mom's last name. I'm like, well that's her last name too. It's just at the end of it, she has a hyphen, the way that she does the hyphen. And I was like, like they put it on the all the baby stuff, not the certificate. But I'm just like, well, why is it always the mother's right? They give the mom a gift bag, but dad doesn't get a gift bag. And I was like, you're like, all right, good luck, mom. I'm like, good luck, dad.
Well, you're
Like,
supposed to be there to support her, right? So
well,
I mean, that's how they see it.
that
Because I mean,
visual.
like, pregnancy is a pretty heavy thing. I mean,
Not only that, but family. Just the idea of family is just like they
that's
just see
true.
it as the woman and her baby. They just completely
You're
remove the
right.
men, and that's another story. That's for another topic, another day, and that's an agenda based thing. That's what's happening, and that's been happening since the '60s. We're going to get into that show at a whole another time because again, I just wanted to just point that out real quick. That's messed up that
Yeah,
people are
let's
doing.
wait till after the election, then we'll talk about these kind of these social
We're going
issues.
to get really real. We're real now, but we're going to get really real after the
Ooh,
election.
yeah. Oh my God. No, we're gonna definitely crack down on all the elected officials and like make sure we hold their
Accountability time. Yep.
oh my God, I have a bad mouth today. We hold them
Hold
accountable,
on,
not just their butt.
FCC did. She didn't say it. um, so no,
You
let's
cut me off again.
so no, the same. So yeah, real quick, and then we're gonna go because we're running low on time. We definitely want to touch on the gubernatorial debate,
Right.
but
So
yeah. So Val Demings again. The only thing I give her credit for is always staying. And again, I give her credit for staying true to what she said. She didn't shy away from it. And the issue I have with her again throughout the whole, and with most of the Democrats actually with this whole abortion issue is they always bring up the incest and rape, the incest and rape, the incest and rape issues. And again, those account for a very low percentage. And it's unfortunate
right,
that you
that's
use
what I was
victims of
about to
those
say
things.
that. I
Yeah,
was
that you
about to say
use
that. We
actual
have to ask him,
victims.
like, so what is the percentage of incest and rape?
Mhm. And
Because
again,
like,
they even account for legislation to say, listen, and we'll allow for the exceptions, and that's why we'll give you the grace period of 15 weeks, or and for me, that's too much. But okay, you gave them the grace period to accommodate for rape and incest. So it's
mhm.
not like we're negating that in our decision making process. It's there. So it doesn't make any sense for her to bring it up, or any Democrat to bring it up in any election, or debates.
No, I mean, I think they're still dreaming that like they're going to be able to, codify Roe into law and, for the
That's
federal
what they want to
government.
do. That's
It's
a
like,
whole parenthood
no, the
thing.
whole point is the Supreme
Yeah.
Court already ruled that like Roe versus Wade isn't like, okay, so judges should not be legislating from the bench. That's why
Mhm.
it's been overturned. And of course, like now it's their turn to do it. And they're going to try, but
Yeah,
it's a state thing, definitely.
yeah. They're gonna try because it's a pipe dream that gets voters to come out and vote. It's like the same thing with that lady that gave people $1,000. It'll get you to come out and vote, but you'll never get that $1,000. So, so,
Mhm.
but
And
it's
sometimes I think the left also forgets that like Roe being overturned wasn't like a single sided thing. I think Ruth Bader Ginsburg was also,
mhm.
she was also thinking the same thing. She thinks that it should be overturned. The thing is, like, because everybody was so overwhelmingly so
Mhm.
pro choice, right? I don't know. Maybe she got sick, she got old. Who knows? I don't want to pretend I know why Ruth Bader Ginsburg didn't do what she didn't do. But anyway, so now our gubernatorial race. So let's switch it up a little gear. Yeah.
That one now. So okay, so what do we think about let's
Okay, so I'll tell you what I think about DeSantis, and what I think
right,
about Charlie Chris.
right.
So uh, I have okay. So Charlie Chris didn't move a needle. Like he was, he was like, okay, here's Governor Ron DeSantis. There's the floor, and
Mhm.
here's Chris. And after the debate, Chris is here. You're like, actually, he probably lost a couple of brownie points with me. Um,
He did. He
right? I
did.
mean, like, that commercial that comes out. He goes, if you're gonna vote for Ron DeSantis or whatever, like, I don't want your vote or something like that. I'm like, what? Like,
Yep, they brought it up.
you know
they
what I
brought.
mean? This is like, okay, so wait, when you get elected as a representative,
Mhm.
right? Or I mean, sorry, as our governor, you're only going to serve people who agree with you. I mean, that's what it says to me, right? It's like I don't
That's
want
pretty
your
much
vote.
what, that's ultimately what he said. He's disenfranchised us as not only Floridians but Americans. So
Right. I mean,
if you have an opinion outside of, if you
yeah,
have a free thought to think something other than what I believe, then I don't want your support. And
yeah,
then on top of that, when I win, if I win, I'm gonna just do everything to make you mad. Everything that you stand for, I'm gonna vote against it, or I'm gonna,
yeah.
put
Because I
laws
don't
in
care
against.
what you think anyway. I don't want
Right.
your vote. If I get voted in, I'm gonna
Mhm.
do what I want to do. Like,
This
okay.
again, he's writing the okay. So you say he didn't move a needle, and you're right, he didn't move
No,
a needle.
he actually kind of like. I mean,
He
like now in
he did.
hindsight, he dropped a little bit, and
He
because
did.
I think that he was so focused on.
Mhm.
So
The same
okay,
tactics.
he's in Congress, right? He's a
Hmm.
U.S. representative
Hmm.
from Florida. So if DeSantis is talking to him and saying that he's voting with Pelosi all the way,
Hmm.
right? He's voting with Biden all the way. He's just talking about his job and his track record. It has
Right.
nothing to do with like DeSantis wanting to run for president in 2024, though I would definitely want him to because I would not want this one in again, right? So, you know what I mean? It's like he's trying to pin him on something that is completely off. Like,
Right.
yeah, and then he's like, "Oh, well, he pays attention to, the national level. Oh, don't forget you're running for governor." It's like, so
It was
what's the
beneath him.
word?
It was beneath him.
It's
I
yeah, it's like a high school girl kind of.
exactly. And here's the thing. When I Before I watched the debate, I was a little, and again, I think I am still happy that Nikki Fried didn't win the primary, because I think she would have been more aggressive
It would have
towards,
been a Val Demings.
yeah, but with some more insight though, because I think she's got some more, as it relates to her being a Florida agricultural
Commission.
commissioner, and working with the governor, working in the state level. She would have had more insight. She would have given a she would have been the same issues, and it would have been more, okay. She is a woman. She's representing. She's always been a Democrat. She's always had these views. So I would have been like, okay, Nikki Fried, she's got valid arguments that convictions. They valid arguments, but she got her own convictions that she was going to bring to the debate. Charlie Crist has a campaign team that has prepared him to debate. And they prepared him in the most
Like
democratic way
like
for
they should
somebody
get
who used to be
fired.
a former Republican governor. It's like, dude, you are going completely 360 about what you did when you were a governor and trying to run on these principles now to get back your governorship, not realizing that you already had a shot at this. We know what it's like to be under a Charlie Crist
Hey,
governor.
so why do you, okay, I've not okay, here's something that I totally missed. I dropped the ball on this one. Why was he not elected to a second term?
I believe he left to pursue Congress.
Is that why?
I think that was why, because it wasn't that he was like beaten in the. I don't, and I have to fact check this, but and I think I did, but I just don't recall right now because he's not that important. But I think he left because he wanted to pursue another seat, um, and then that's how Rick Scott got in.
Hmm.
Um, so he wasn't like he lost an election. He didn't. But I think, was it one term that he served, Charlie Crist? I think it was one term, right? I've got to go back and look at
He
this
was
stuff.
one term. That's why
One
he's
term.
kind of, yeah.
Yeah, no, he was trying to climb political ladders. I think he wanted to make a run for the White House at one point in time, and at some point in time realized,
You.
yeah, exactly. Some point in time realized he wasn't going to get it, so he started to like settle, like, yeah, maybe I should go back and be governor.
No, I mean, like, he actually really occurs to me as someone who's like really sleazy.
But yeah,
I
but he's
mean, how he was trying to attack DeSantis. You know what I
yes,
mean? The content of what he was talking about. Like, okay, so one thing that I think he really, so okay. What's funny is I know that they were going to have a special session on insurance, but he was
yes,
trying to hit Governor DeSantis on insurance, right? And insurance is a deep, deep issue. There's
hmm
so many things involved, not to mention like just lobbyists alone. I don't know how many, right? So all of that, like all that jazz. And so
Hmm.
they're after the election, they're going straight up there to go deal with this,
Hmm.
to go deal with the insurance issue. Um, I mean, I can see a couple of solutions, but of course, nothing is that easy. It seems everything takes too long. And the reason why it takes so long, I think it's all the bureaucratic red tape.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's not like
That's
just the
absolutely what it is.
decision. Here's what we're gonna do. Like, let's go. Right? It's like, no, okay, now we got to send it down the process, and
Hmm.
then we got to go with the workflow, and then we got to see who's gonna do this and do that, and then like by the time you realize, like, you also have a backup of stuff going on too.
I mean, this at the end of the day, what it is right now is that it's been years of legislation, poor legislation, that's got us in this point with the insurance. So to blame it, which Charlie Crist was trying to do, to blame it on one governor, especially when you were one of the former governors who had an opportunity to do this, um, this is also on you. Because one of the things that Charlie Crist did, he was like, "Oh well, I agree with your wife. You should have done this thing when was about the I forgot what
The
it was. It was
diapers, the tax
yeah,
exemption
yeah, the talk from the
on
back. But you should have done this on the first year. You were, yeah, you live and you learn. And he was learning that now I can do certain things. He's learning to be a
no. See,
governor.
the problem is like Charlie Kristen. It never even went on. It wasn't even in his radar to do
Correct.
that. So
Correct.
to tell Ron DeSantis that he was supposed to do something before because his wife recommended it, like, I mean, is you know what I mean?
That's
It's like,
it was a low blow. That's what and
yeah,
what it was. Like,
totally,
listen,
total low blow. Like,
listen, they were like taking
whatever.
advantage of every opportunity. And then Charlie Crist has also had experience as a politician. This is one of the things I don't like about politicians. They have so much experience in debating that they know when to take those things, spin it, and then hit you with a cheap shot. And I'm very proud of Ron DeSantis' campaign team because Bill had said in our discussion this week that he looked kind of nervous. He wasn't nervous. What he was biting his tongue because there were so many things that he could have said that
No,
his
I know.
campaign team was
No,
like,
he
don't
did look
even entertain it.
uncomfortable though. He did look a little
No,
uncomfortable.
he did because listen,
Like,
it
I
was
think he
bump.
wasn't able to say what he really wanted to
No,
say.
exactly. But I was proud of him for not saying what he really wanted to say because Charlie Crist was trying to bait him to say some things that were going to be like, okay, now I got him on the hook. I can hit him over the head with these things and with that issue and this legislation and the gun laws on this and the abortion laws on that and the education, all the things that the whole you're running for president. Why don't you talk about that now? He's like, man, I ain't much going to entertain this conversation with this guy. I'm
I
just going.
appreciate the moderator though. I don't know. I mean, like,
Yes, yeah, she did.
because he did say, like, okay, we do have a rule that we are not allowed to ask candidates. The candidates aren't allowed to ask
That's
questions
each
to
other
him.
questions. Yeah.
Right.
No, the
And,
both
and they
moderators did
stood
okay.
by
Did
that
very well.
without like letting, I mean, like, come on, if you look back at, all the, like Chris Wallace, right?
Mhm.
Like, he practically ganged up on Trump with Biden. You know what I mean? Like, it was like,
He's like, yeah, Trump. So,
yeah, so
no,
why don't you answer that question?
no,
Like,
both the moderators in both the senatorial and the gubernatorial
they
debates
were
were
good. Yeah,
really good.
I was pretty impressed. I felt
I was
they were
impressed with the.
keeping time,
Yep,
and they would like cut
and they were
right
very fair. They were very
even
fair.
when either one of them were trying to continue like babbling, they just snipped it. So
I will say this much about the audience in both debates. Um, the better audience was definitely the one in the senatorial ones. They refrained from interacting they followed the rules as best as they could. Now the one in the gubernatorial ones, I'm talking about, I hear liar and cheater and murderer and all kinds of stuff coming
no,
out.
they had to say like, we ask that you respect the candidates.
I was like, these people, and I'm sitting there thinking to myself, you can't follow directions, but you expect your kids to do this. So anyway,
And what is so frustrating is lies become like, so lies just become a reality now, you
mhm.
know? And I totally get why people are so confused. People are like, why are you associating what the Democrat Party does as like to a communist, right? And I'm like, because it is.
Mhm.
Like, I don't, wealth redistribution, supply chain issues with food, raising gas prices, making us, inflation going like berserk, like just all kinds of things, taking away our rights. Like, indoctrinating our children. They're like, but the right indoctrinates children too. Like, you have to pledge the allegiance to the flag. I'm like, every country has a, and she was from a European country, and like, I had to hold my tongue and say, yeah, and that's why Europe is in the situation that it's in right now, because it has no patriotism. If you have an ounce of patriotism and you love your country, right? There's things that we would do if you
Mhm.
love your country. I mean, it's just like you own a house and you rent a house. I mean,
Mhm.
that's the difference of how you treat your house, right?
Right.
It's like if you teach patriotism to children, it's like they own that house. They don't feel like they're renting. And
You
that's the
know,
problem.
that's a very good analogy because if now because I rent currently, so for me, I'm like, okay, um, if I'm renting and something goes wrong, I'm gonna call somebody and I expect them to fix it. You've got to fix it because I pay rent. You know, it's included.
Yes.
So I
You see,
like that reference. I
that
love that.
rent and buy analogy is like so true. Like, this is how Americans are
No, I
living. We're
like that.
living like we're renting.
Hmm.
And I mean, regardless, this is a figure of speech, right? It's not like, yeah, of course, because I am still renting, like, that's not my point. My point is just like how you treat something that you rent and how you treat something you buy or own is completely different.
Yeah. Now back to this comment that Don Thompson's sending here. Like, I do not want America to become Venezuela. That
Oh,
is
so there's probably a video on
no,
Rumble.
no. I'm gonna check it out. But no,
Is it?
I'm so with you on it. I don't want it to become not only Venezuela but like Nicaragua or Russia,
None
Cuba.
of that.
I don't
None
want
of
it to
it.
be. I want it to be America
Oh yeah.
forever.
Well
You know,
said,
the
my
original design of what America is supposed to be.
friend. Mhm.
Land of the free and home of the brave, and
No, I
not
mean, like, kids don't even know about that anymore, right? They're stuck in this.
and that's on purpose.
Mm.
It's by design. Don knows what I'm talking about. I'm pretty sure I'm going to see that in that how to cook a frog thing. It's exactly what they
No, it's on a different page.
get to your kids. They want to get to the education. No, no, no. That's the other link. I know the how to cook a frog thing. But no, he gets it
Oh,
because that's exactly what they do. They re-educate your kids, and they've got to plant a seed somewhere and watch the tree grow. And then when that tree grows, that's now your new establishment. Um,
yep.
and that's why it's so weird watching these kids. It's like I don't get it because none of the things that's happening make any sense, but they
Mhm.
love it. It's scary, it's terrifying, and I'm glad that I have at least the opportunity to raise my kids the right way. So in my house, our kids are like, "This is crazy, what's going on in the news?" But other kids are like, "Yay!" So, yep. See, that's why he made the film. That's why he
Yeah.
made the film. So I mean, Don sounds like my kind of guy. I'm about to add him on my
It's
friends.
pretty awesome. Yeah.
I'm about to add him on Facebook since I lost a few other friends on it. I'm down to like 4,900 something.
Yeah.
I ain't losing sleep over the 10 people that
So
like.
basically, like, so the gubernatorial debate, I'm gonna back, like, so we can complete that conversation.
Yeah,
I did feel that he was, he looked a little uncomfortable, but I mean, he
I would
wasn't
be
doing
too.
one of those fake smiles, like, like Val Demings or Hillary
Yep.
Clinton was doing. He just kind of like, okay, thinking, thinking, thinking. But I like Charlie Chris just does not come across as a he doesn't come across as someone who is powerful or generous. You know what I mean? Uh oh, did I freeze or did you freeze? Mo, 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 are you there? Am I there? Did I freeze? Anyway, so um oh, here we go.
Yeah, so like you, Lynn, my battery died.
Oh gosh.
So now I'm
You're pretty
mobile.
intense.
Yeah, I'm mobile now.
Okay.
Um,
No, so what I was
yeah,
saying was, like, I think Charlie Chris just doesn't come across as being powerful or generous, right? He's like something in qualities in a leader. Like I didn't have
Charlie Chris came off as somebody who was very well trained for this debate to do it the most democratic way possible. Attack his character, bring up the points that identify with your voting base or women's right to choose. It wasn't even about abortion. The key words were just use the buzzwords: women's right to choose. Women's right to choose. Choose what? Women's right to choose. What are they choosing? Women's right to choose. Just say straight up about abortion issues.
Are we gonna get taken down again because I'm talking about this?
I don't know. There's worse things on the internet. To see what happens. But again, they use these democratic buzzwords that again usually like raise your profile in that particular community. And again, and this is not to knock Democrats. I really don't want to knock Democrats because I think there are some, again, being nonpartisan, there's people on both sides of the aisle that really believe what they believe and that's why they do what they do. But there's like they said, the extremists that just say, hey, listen, just use the buzzwords. That's all you got to do, and you'll pander to your base. And that's all he kept doing. People that don't look like me, people that, because people don't look like you, Ron DeSantis. I'm like, well, they don't look like you either, Charlie Crist. Like, matter of fact, they look closer to Ron DeSantis than they do you. And again, he looks like somebody who should have been, realistically, he should have been Joe Biden's running mate. But then Joe Biden needed a young black woman to win, and that's why he wasn't his friend.
No, man, wait, hold on. I'm thinking like, if Charlie Crist was running mate, like what would that have been like? Like, I can't.
They would look like twins.
At this point, I cannot rank Kamala Harris and Charlie Crist against each other.
Kamala Harris is the most unimpressive vice president in history. And that's even including Al Gore.
Wait, to be honest, like I think the scale even goes broader, right? Like, if I find her in any way, in any office that she has held.
Mm-hmm. And again, I support women. I support Black women. I support women. I support anybody. But again, yeah, proud of her, anybody for an accomplishment. First this, first that, whatever. I'm all about that stuff. But to become the first, I'm gonna say Black. I'm not gonna say Asian because the little bit of Jamaican that she is doesn't count as Asian. I'm part Chinese, but I don't go around telling people I'm Asian. I'm Jamaican. My kids get to do that. They literally are. They look Chinese. Huh? Say it again?
She's Indo-Jamaican.
That's what she is?
Well, I mean, like, her mom is Indian, and her dad is Jamaican.
Jamaicans are Indians. It's called the West Indies. We're West Indians, so you can't.
But you also have Black in you, too.
Yeah, exactly. But, I mean, it's no big deal. But anyway, I'll give her the credit of being the first Black vice president or first Black woman vice president. I'll give her all those things. Kudos to her. But to then get the job and just do an unimpressive job at it, that's where it's like, okay, I really hope she doesn't, one, get a second term at being vice president, and two, never gets to execute what her job title is really supposed to be for. So I hope that never happens. Like, I am hoping that Joe Biden is the healthiest man on earth right now. And that he stays that way for at least until 2024. So
no, to tell you the truth, so I'm thinking about my dad is a businessman. So he asked me a question one day, and he said, who do you fire first? Like the stupid one that is very diligent, works hard, or the stupid, or the smart one that's lazy, right?
Mm-hmm.
And then, of course, I said, like, I'd fire the one that's lazy because they're not getting anything done. But he was like, no, you got to fire the stupid one who works hard because they're going to be stupid about doing a lot of things. They're going to do a lot of stupid things. So you got to fire
Right.
him. And I'm thinking like Biden is one of those, stupid and hard because he just pumping out accusations like stupid things doing over and over again. So I don't know. I mean, Kamala Harris hasn't got a single thing done.
No, but she wears
And
Timberlands
at
everywhere.
least, like, if we want to hold off, the administration until the end,
Mm-hmm.
it might work. But I don't know. I mean, I think Kamala Harris is a lot closer to the to 44.
Yeah, no, listen. Again, I'm not trying to discredit her because of any other thing, but the work that she's put out, she has not done anything. The
No, I
president.
don't have any issues about that. Like, people think that, like, because she's a certain race or something, like, we got to stop doing that because, like, yeah, and
Yeah, it has nothing to do with that.
mentioning all these things because, like, people are who they, what's it called? Like, it should be about what they do, their merit, right? We're a meritocracy.
Exactly.
If we think on meritocracy, on a meritocracy, then it's so much easier.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, she's just again unimpressive. And people may listen. I probably lost another 10 friends on this show. And like every week we do a show, I lose like 10 friends, and I gain 10 more, and I lose those 10 too. But it's like I'm trading them up or something. I don't know. I'm recycling them.
No, the thing is, like, I mean, to all of Mo's friends, like, you can't lose him as a friend. The thing is, like, this is what makes the world so beautiful, right? We always talk about, diversity makes the world so beautiful. Like, it's true.
Yep.
Like, if we all thought the same way, we'd all be wearing the same color, we'd all be wearing our hair the same way, and we'd all talk the same way, and it would be boring.
Yeah, no, like you're absolutely right. It would be boring. It would just be too predictable. And I'm glad I am who I am. I'm glad I grew up the way I grew up. Because again, I am unpredictable. Like I love it when people say I could assume how you think. I'm like, I bet you can. I know who you voted
do it
for. Like you voted for Biden, right? I'll never forget.
I mean, like, Mo, are you black? Because if you don't vote for him, you ain't what?
Listen, I'm telling you. Listen, when I get pulled over, I'm still black. That's all. Apparently, it's like, sir, I still do black things. Like I'm putting my hands on the steering.
Okay, that's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna identify as a black woman.
Why not? I mean, you can do that nowadays. I mean, if that dude could win a women's competition, you could be black, Lynn. I'm just saying. And that's to the point of our governor. He's keeping women's sports safe. Again, he back to his debate. He covered a lot of things, and again, I'm proud of our governor because he stuck to his guns. Charlie Crist is wishy-washy.
I mean, I've heard him speak. And the governor, I've heard the governor speak before. Like, I mean, of course we all have, right? I mean, TV, in person. I find it a little less aggressive than he normally is. But I could see how, you just have these I mean, like, he was like a hyena.
He's not a debater.
Charlie Crist was like a hyena that night. Trying to grab something and bite of it.
Yeah, no, I think he's not a debater, and I think people knew that, and I think they were like, listen, whatever you do not take the bait. He's smart enough to not take the bait, and it made him very uncomfortable to sit there and listen to those things, knowing that he could have said something about it and not say anything about it. And
I think a lot of the people on the left or the media has been brainwashing, calling him the anti-scientist, stuff like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, no, somebody screamed that in the audience that said liar. I was like, this man has not lied about one thing.
So here's Johns Hopkins with a study that came out, right, and said that the lockdown actually had little to no benefit.
Yeah, no,
on the number of deaths that had happened, right? So I didn't say that. Johns Hopkins said that, right? So look yourself, search for that, because like if you're saying that, like, because he opened up our Florida, that caused all these things. I mean, we got to talk about. I mean, we're not even talking about it came down to Florida, right? We're just talking about like, actual things that have happened here. And if the lockdown did make a difference, he didn't do that. And Fauci has also lockdowns actually caused, like the development to slow down. Like all of that, that's it's they don't put these things together in a picture for people. They just separate them out so that they can nail him for things that he didn't really do.
No, listen. Regardless of what Charlie Crist was trying to do with pinning those 82,000 Floridians who died, again, not trying to justify death, but it happens. And if those 82,000 didn't die that way, they probably would have died another way. They were majority of them were older. A lot of it was due to negligence by medical staff. In a lot of cases, there's a lot of things that factored into those 82,000 deaths. It wasn't just him leaving the state open, but what him leaving the state open did was it allowed, like he said, it allowed for businesses to stay open. It allowed for kids to go to school. It allowed for people to feel as though they live in a free country and not China or not Venezuela or something like that, where somebody's controlling your every movement. Stay in the house now, or else you're gonna face a fine or.
Oh, have you seen those Chinese be locked down because they want a zero COVID?
Yeah, no, exactly.
It's insane.
It's ridiculous.
Anyway, no, I think our governor did a fantastic job. I think that if you really look into the details of like what he did and how he did that, I think there was thought,
absolutely.
right? There was intelligence. There was, a group of people who got together and actually thought about what they should do in this situation versus just follow instructions and lockdown. Like that was pretty insane. It was driving people crazy. There was a lot of suicides, and also like they're talking about 82,000. You got to also think about, were those caused by COVID or died with COVID, right? Because at that time we didn't learn to distinguish those two.
Exactly, and then it was proven that there was a lot of issues in terms of classifying deaths as one thing instead of the other because of insurance payouts and things like that. So people need to understand how medical billing and coding factored into that whole, determining what people died of. So if I could just get away with saying, hey,
and we're by no means diminishing the deaths of people who had died of COVID, right? And our hearts go out to families who lost their family members because of COVID. But when we're sitting here arguing about the future of our state and of the country, really have to tease those little details apart a little bit so that we are clear. And you don't have to vote like we do. You don't have to decide what we decide, but just tease it apart. That's all we're asking for, right? And this conversation is here for that same reason. So anyway, I think we're did you have anything else, Mo?
No, we're over time. We're way over time, and for me, I think I heard my wife get home and want to go say hi to her before she falls asleep.
Oh, okay. Good deal.
Yeah, and then hopefully my son's asleep, and hopefully my wife's still awake.
Now your son is awake and your wife is asleep.
Yeah, that'll be totally the wrong scenario for me. So that's it. I mean, we did good tonight. We obviously missed Bill tonight. So hopefully he's out there on the campaign trail and winning your support. So don't forget, vote for Bill.
Right, Florida State Senate District 30. Okay, Bill Reichert or William Bill Reichert. Yeah.
Oh well, he just said he just got home. He just sent a message saying he just got home, so I guess he missed out on the show. Goodness. So we'll just have to do another show with Bill. We want Bill's opinions on this.
Let's do that.
Yeah, matter of fact, if we're free tomorrow, I'm down to do it. Just don't forget your secret question for Bill.
Oh my gosh, I gotta ask that secret question to both of you. So
all right, well, save it for when Bill's on. So make sure you don't forget it.
Because of election, we are probably going to come to you more often than just once a week. And the other thing is, if you haven't gone out to vote, please go and vote. I know that a lot of people are, they didn't register, they just moved in. I don't know. Call your supervisor of elections. Find out if you can still go in and vote, because there are restrictions. You have to register by a certain date in order to vote, right? Now, of course, if you didn't know or you just moved in or something like that, I think there is something that you can do. Just have to call in and ask. Okay, so each county has a supervisor of elections. Make sure you do that. And exercise the right to. We got to choose the direction of where our country is going. So that's it from me. I really want everybody. I want to encourage everybody to go vote. That's all I want to do.
Yeah, go vote. Vote for Bill. Vote. Just three shout outs real quick. Vote for Bill. Vote for Jenna Haig. Um, Vote for Brenda Pham School Board. Those are not endorsements. Those are just shout outs. Just want to make sure they're clear. But those are three votes that I'm gonna definitely put on check on the box on the ballot. Do what you want. Since we're media and I'm not supporting media having endorsements, so we're media. And I'm not going to have any official endorsement, but those are people I'm voting for. So I would recommend you do the same.
We're having a talk tomorrow. I do want to talk about North Miami Beach. That's the city where I live in, and we are having issues with corruption and misuse. Definitely, like the new set of people that are running the office are worth a try and worth a look. I probably will touch on that a little bit time. Okay.
Okay, awesome. We'll do all. There's some stuff I want to touch on too. So yeah, we'll touch on all those things tomorrow. We'll talk to Bill, see if Bill's down. We'll be back tomorrow, folks, for BLM Live. It won't be Political Pulse Live. It'll be BLM Live on Thursday.
BLM Live. That's so hilarious. All right. Great talk. Great seeing you guys. And thank you for watching. If you had been on this whole time, thank you, Don, for being here. And of course, Mo, my co-host.
The tri co-host. I don't know. One of co-hostee.
All right. Okay. Have a good night, everyone.
All right. Bye.
Okay, bye.